What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team Psalm Circus live video. Today we're going to go over branded Despia. This is going to be one of my favorite decks. We are going to be playing pure. This is going to be a 45 list. We're not playing any of the Azamina stuff. I'm not necessarily saying it's bad. Obviously, ending on a Omni-Negate is quite good. But unfortunately, this deck doesn't have the same kind of bridges as the Fire King or any other deck that can play the Witches, because we don't have a way to search for Sinful Spoils cards, and then you have to open up essentially with Deception, and then you have this in your deck, which is going to be a brick. You can discard it off other stuff. I just don't feel it's going to be that good, unfortunately. That's why we're opting not to play it. I'm not saying that I'm not building a deck with it. I am still testing it out. I just find this is going to be a lot better. Before we dive on in, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Share a lot. We're on the road to 10K and we guys support. If this video gets to 100 likes, I'll be doing a combo video on it once again with the Azamina stuff, if you guys want to see that. And over to stay tuned for this Friday. I'm going to be doing a Sprite build with the Feastmint stuff, doing that. It's a really cool deck if you guys want to be seeing it. But yeah, we're going to be diving on in. So it's very simple. We're still playing the 3 Albaz. Everyone kind of knows why we're playing this. It's a great normal summon. It's good off fusion deployment, and it kind of makes your opponent break a lot of your boards, as well as consistency-wise. You always want to have 3 of it. In the grind game, just normal summoning it can be quite nice. You also want to be able to discard one as well, so having one in your hand is never really bad, because then it lets you set up multiple plays. If you have to discard it off the Rebellion, you have stuff for your branded in red. Then we're still playing triple Aluber. You're always going to play this as long as it's going to be at 3. And the 2 Quem. This helps you play a bit through Mulcharming a little bit more. I will say this card is definitely necessary at 2. It does all your 2-card combos. If this card gets hit with a Veiler or your Ash on your Brand of Fusion, you're kind of playing with no cards. So having Quem, being able to summon back up multiple times, having so many 2-card combos with this card's definitely needed at 2. Especially if you get Nibirued as well. This is going to let you play through a bunch of stuff and being able to summon it from the deck with the Grand Giganol. Then we play the 2 Cartesia. There is a reason to play this at 3. I just am choosing to play 2 because we are playing the fusion deployments. And with this here, we kind of have 6, 7 fusion deployment versions being able to summon it out. And I also find myself, when I play 3, I have multiple in the hand, and I don't really want to see that. That's why we're playing only the 2. We are still on the Spriggan's kit. This card's definitely mandatory now. If we do banish our Brand of Fusion, which we will off the tile a lot, off of the copy of Fusion Duplication, we need a way to add it back to the graveyard, or add it back from the banish. So we are playing the kit for that. And then we are playing the 2 Mercurier, the 1 Tragedy, and that's going to be kind of it for the brand lineup here. We are going to be playing Albion as well. I'll mention that, but this is going to be with the Dragon lineup. So 2 Mercurier, the reason why we're doing that is because Rindrum is actually really good. People are underestimating the power of Rindrum. You can summon onto the field and just be able to bounce those cards as well. And anytime a extra deck monster is activated, it doesn't even have to be on the field. So you can bounce back cards all the time. We're also playing another card in the extra deck, which I'll show you guys, which kind of helps out with that Rindrum there. But yeah, these are definitely really good. And then having, of course, the second one in the hand, being able to negate a card can be quite nice. Then for the other monsters, we are playing the Lubellion and the Magnamut. We also are playing 1 Sorinier. Now, I know this is really weird. In a moment, I'll be explaining to you guys why we're only playing 1 Sorinier. I find that I don't really like the Bestials this format. They are really good against the Azamina cards. Just a lot of times, they don't really do that much. It's really good against the Feastmint stuff as well, but unfortunately, if you're going to be just throwing 1 Sorinier away, it's not going to do that much other than play 2 talents. So I'm just opting to play 1 of it for now with the Magnamut as well. Now, we are playing triple Albion. I have thought about cutting this down to 2 and then playing 2 Sorinier. I really love the fact that we can Albion. If it's in the graveyard, it acts as an Albaz and stuff like that. Being able to do so much stuff with it, you can banish it while it's in the graveyard acting as an Albaz to go up into a Mirror Jade and stuff like that. And you have different, if you have 2 of these in the hand, it doesn't really matter for you as well, because you get them continuously at every single turn, getting a +1. It replenishes the hand and it counts as Albaz. It's quite nice to me. And the last card we are playing is the Game Club Nightmare. You don't need to play this, but it's obviously really good. If you do get it off, it's pretty much just an FDK. Then for the spells, we play the 1 Soul Brand of Fusion. Konami, bring this back to 2, please. And then we are playing the triple Opening. Card's still very crazy. We're going to be playing this. And we are still playing the triple High Spirits. This card essentially is your Brand of Fusion, but on stuff. Any Dark Dragon that you have is going to be a full combo with it. So important to note. It also sets itself or add itself back to the hand during the end phase when it's sent to the graveyard. So there's different combo lines with it. But unfortunately, you can only activate 1 of the effects per turn. I do quite forget that a lot, so important that you do notice it. The 2 brandeds and reds, I think that people who are playing only 1 of this definitely are playing wrong. Unless they're playing a 40-card list, then you can optionally choose to play 1 if you want to. But I really like the second one in the hand and being able to set it with branded with the Albion later. People just don't really expect it. Then we are playing the 1 branded Lost, Who doesn't like not getting negating the effects? Who doesn't like having the ability to not be able to answer to your fusion summons? We do, therefore we want to play this. Also, this is going to be really important because we are playing this card right here in the extra deck, and this makes it so that we cannot negate our own spells. So when your opponent passes turn to you and you try to go like Brand Fusion, this is going to activate trying to negate it, but it's still going to resolve because under Lost. So kind of important to note. It does still lose you 1,000 attack, but in defense, but just very important. People don't really know that, so it's going to be good to know. Then we are playing also 3 of the branded deployment. This summons up your branded, your Albaz, as well as your Cartesias. Not much having to explain here. Now for your board breakers and other cards, we are playing the Book of Eclipse. I feel this card's necessarily mandatory in this deck. You know, going first, you can set it, of course, being able to play through Veilers and stuff like that. And then you can like Book of Moon any kind of board that's making any like Centurion deck. This hurts quite a bit. It's good against Snake Eyes. Then going second, if you don't end on Link monsters, you know, it's just pretty much a blow. Getting rid of all their field definitely helps quite a bit. Also important to note, like a lot of people end on just an IP. If you're like hand chopping them and stuff like that. And then if you do Book of Eclipse everything face down, they can't IP with a face down monster. So it just leaves the IP left on the field, which is going to be quite nice. Then we are playing the 2 thrusts and the 2 talents. I know that a lot of players are like, well, just play 3 thrusts. I really like the 2 talents because a lot of times I'll discard it. My opponent will be like, oh, he doesn't play another one. Then we thrust into it and then we just rip their hand. Can be quite nice. As well as like being able to activate it and then later on being able to have it use another one just feels really great. And then once you have the second one in your deck, people don't know if you're playing 3. Like obviously you can be playing 3. So you have to be more careful of that as well. And then if you do see it game 1 without the thrust, the hand trap you low impact, you activate the talents, and all of a sudden their opponent's gonna be kind of a little bit scared, you know. They're gonna be like, okay, well, he has talents in his deck and have to play the hand traps correctly, and it can punish bad players quite a bit. Then we are playing the 1 Gold Sark as well as the 1 Call of the Grave. Gold Sark's just a consistency piece. It's not really any interruption. Call of the Grave obviously negates Ash, negates Mulch Armies, and kind of is crazy. You know, we hate Ash Blossom and we hate Mulch Armies in this deck and in general. Then for the last 2 cards are 2 traps. We're playing the Fusion Deployment and Branded Retribution. Now I have thought about upping this to 2. I was playing a 50 card build where I was playing 2 of this, and I was also playing the 3 copies of Fusion, not Fusion, but Forbidden Droplets. I have decided to cut the Forbidden Droplets out of the deck right now, just for the fact that I wanted to have a little bit more consistency. I found myself bricking on like Droplets and like Branded Retribution, and then a copy of like Albion, and then just having like random stuff like Book of Eclipse or Thrusts, and it's not really doing anything there. Obviously, you know, going first, going second, you could just like break the board quite easily with that, being able to like Droplets this, send, and then being able to add back. But yeah, it's really nice, a combo deck. I think that the deck is pretty straightforward. If you wanted to add those cards, you definitely could add like 3 Cartesias, or add an extra Cartesia, add these in, and then add another Retribution, and there you go, you're at 50 cards. Now for the extra deck, we're playing the 2 Mirror Jade, the 2 Albion, the 1 Nubelion, and the 1 Albion, the Sanctifier Dragon, as well as the Rinbrum, Titaniclad, and we still are on the Albalentis. So this is going to be it for our Albaz-related fusions. These are going to be really important. You know, you want to play 2 of these, obviously, because if they get destroyed, you can always shuffle them back and then get another one. And if it is in the graveyard, you cannot shuffle back to summon another one with Nubelion. Very important note, you have to play 2 of it for you able to do that, because a fusion summon has to be successful before you put back the materials, which is kind of important to note. Albion, we don't ever argue why you play 2 of this. Nubelion at 1, make sure if you are going to be putting this back, unless you're going to be using it for the Light and Darkness Dragon, that you make sure you put this back all the time so you can have it the next turn. Because if you don't, there's no other way to put it back other than using Retribution's on field effect. Albalentis, this card can be pushed to the side if you want to. You can also cut this altogether if you want to play the Guardian Chimera, which we have cut for the Light and Darkness Dragon. I just have a lot of Tempi at my locals, and I think this card is really good, being able to just hit all the dragons, as well as like people do end on dragons. There was like a Bestial Dragon Link deck that was running around our locals. So we are playing this still, which is going to be just helping when you set like a Albaz and they're like, oh, is this real? And you end up taking the entire field, kind of cracked. And then obviously Sanctifier, we all know how this goes. People want this banned. Rinbrum, extremely underrated card. Titaniclad summons with Quem. Not much I can say about that. Then we have our 2 Granganols. Obviously, this is going to be part of the combo, and you always want to play 2 of it. And you have the 1 Queritus. It's also a light spellcaster. People don't realize that, so you can use it for the Sanctifier. Queritus is going to be obviously amazing, making those fusion decks kind of stop in their tracks if they do try to go any further, make everything 0. The Dragostapelia, this card is really good against Centurion, honestly, but can help you out when you get shifted. You can't go for the Mirror Jade line when you get shifted, so kind of having to force up into Dracosepelia can be quite nice. And then we're playing the Light Darkness Dragon. This is going to be a 3 Omni Gate, which you're going to be using off your Branded Red going up into this, using like the Albion and potentially either like a Lubellion on the field. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Just going to go up into this, and then your opponent's going to have like a really hard time doing it. It's not mandatory, negate 3, but important to note, it also does negate yours. So obviously that's going to be kind of hard. And something I do want to mention as well, people don't realize that even once it loses its attack, it's at 0, it's still going to try to lose the 1,000 attack. So it still activates. Therefore, you can't activate your Mercuriers and stuff like that to negate it, which is really important to note that, you know, it does stop those kind of stuff. It also stops your Ashes as well. But we're not playing that. So it is important to note that, you know, this does mandatory activate, which unfortunately makes it so you can't Mercurier stuff like that as well. And for the last card we are playing is a Boreal Furious Dragon. This card is absolutely incredible. Helps pop in your back row, which is why we're no longer playing that Guardian Chimera. But if you do want to play the Guardian Chimera, you can definitely swap it out for either this or that, or the Abelentus. These are really the 3 cards that can be interchangeable. I really do recommend that if you guys have not played a Light and Darkness Dragon, you definitely should give it a shot, as well as Boreal Furious. I think this card is one of the best cards in this deck right now. It's extremely underrated. Regardless, that's going to be the deck profile. If you guys want to be seeing any more content like this, let me know in the comment section down below what else you guys want to be seeing. Don't forget to stay safe. Peace.